The disabled tyrant's beloved pet fish. Transmigration. Chapter 88. Jingwang believed in Liu utterly, however managing a locust plague was no small feat. After pausing briefly, Jingwang held Liu's hands with a concerned expression, as if asking him, "Are you sure?" Liu said with an unsure chuckled, "I'm sure, but my methods might be a bit unconventional." Jingwang didn't care about convention. In comparison to controlling the locust's plague, he was more worried about Liu's safety. Normally when the peasants managed locust swarms, they used fire. Although they could burn a lot of the insects to death in a short amount of time, fire could lead to burn injuries. Xiao Yu was a Carpiao, therefore he must be very afraid of fire, right? Liu could see all of his apprehension and said, "Your Highness, don't worry. I won't head into the battle personally. To say it specifically, the ones going into battle won't be him." Liu. Don't make him seem like some super impressive Yao who could summon wind and rain or something. He was only a system fish. He was also very afraid of insects. Jingwang examined Liu diligently. Seeing that Liu really wasn't joking, he finally nodded his head and allowed Liu to give it a try. Liu asked for paper and brush and wrote a few methods all at once. To be honest, this was rather coincidental. Before Liu had transmigrated, some of the countries in his original world were also suffering from locust plagues. His nation provided some assistance. Liu was curious and casually studied how they dealt with the locust plagues. Although he couldn't remember everything, he remembered a few that he thought were especially interesting. These methods were deep plowing, selecting grains, and duck army. Jingwang. Liu did his best to explain each of the methods in ways that could be understood in ancient times. Deep plowing is talking about the fact that locusts originally spawn in the ground. When plowing, we should try to dig deeper to flip the soil. That way, the locust eggs will be exposed under the sun and dry out and die. Selecting grains is about how locusts don't actually eat all types of vegetation. If we plant more crops that the locusts don't eat, then they won't have food to eat and naturally won't be able to reproduce. Jingwang was smart and understood these concepts with just a simple explanation. The two methods were both pretty interesting. Jingwang's gaze landed on the third method. What the heck is a duck army? Was it the same duck that he was thinking about? It was exactly what you're thinking, Your Highness. Liu blinked and said, "It's been said that everything has its weakness. Ducks eat locusts. The first two options work best after a locust plague. But it's already too late to use them currently. Right now, we can gather a lot of ducks to relieve this emergent situation. This is the so-called duck army." Jingwang. Jingwang furrowed his brows. The methods that Xiao Yu provided was. To say they've never been heard of wouldn't be an exaggeration. But Xiao Yu's words also sounded very reasonable. At least, it didn't need fire and didn't cause any harm to other living things. Jingwang slowly nodded his head. Some people living in Lufeng town already raised ducks. It wasn't much as the families originally bought them to sell or eat. Jingwang ordered Wang Shi to go buy a few. Whether ducks will eat locusts, they just have to give it a try to know if it would work. Wang Shi took over the task personally and headed out in the morning before the day even brightened up. After 2 hours, he came running back, saying excitedly and repeatedly, "Your Highness, it really worked. This old servant saw it with my own eyes. As soon as the ducks were released, they ate plenty of locusts. The entire time that I was there, they've been eating non-stop." Wang Shi came back to report in a hurry. He was so happy that one of his shoes almost fell off from running. According to Wang Shi's words, one duck can eat around 100 locusts all at once. Jingwang made a rough estimate and also couldn't help but feel excited. At this time, If he first reported to the emperor and allowed the Ministry of Works to appropriate funds to buy the ducks, with how long it would take, the locust plague might become worse. Jingwang needed to use this opportunity. He ordered Wang Shi to go wild and use the Jing estate's wealth to buy all of the live ducks in the west frontier. If there weren't enough in the west frontier, they could also send people to other nearby provinces to buy more. Li Yu suggested another idea, Your Highness, don't just buy big ducks. You can also buy ducklings and raise them. A place to raise them could be set up. Ducks grow very fast and would definitely matured enough to help with the locust infestation. Jingwang thought that it was also a good idea and ordered Wang Shi to go do it. A single duck didn't really cost much. Jingwang had plenty of money. The civilians of Lufeng town were very grateful to Jingwang for fighting back the bandits. After learning that Jingwang wanted to buy ducks, all of the families that were raising ducks rushed to send ducks over. Plenty of people didn't even want any money. Nearby provinces heard that Jingwang was buying ducks to control the locust plague and all became extremely curious. Wanting to get in on the action, they also sent ducks in flocks towards Lufeng town. Jingwang ordered the guards to receive the peasants along the road to maintain safety for the civilians traveling back and forth. It was also to prevent the bandits from profiting from this opportunity. However, once the bandits heard that Jingwang was going to eradicate the locust plague, they sat back to watch the entertainment, temporarily not interested in stealing a few ducks. Wang Shi very quickly gathered 5,000 ducks and about 1,000 little ducklings. The ducklings needed to be fed and raised. The grown ducks were immediately enlisted into the duck army and rushed to the town that received the most damage from the locust plague. Jingwang also headed over himself. After a day, there was a heartening result. The duck army really could eat. In a mere half a day, a small group of ducks had already eaten pretty much an acreage of locusts. Before, what gave the commoner the most headache was the short lifespan of locusts. If they used fire to burn one wave to death, another wave would very quickly emerge again. The fire could spread and cause collateral damages as well. Now they didn't need to worry about anything. The ducks could eat continuously for days without stopping. There were also no other dangers to this method, so the damage was extremely low. After all, the locusts in that town was almost all eaten up, not even 10% of the duck army were lost. The ducks were really miraculous soldiers. With a smile, Jingwang shared a thumbs up with Li Yu and continued to order Wang Shi to purchase ducks from all over. However, something unexpected happened during this second wave of purchase. Wang Shi had discovered that after some merchants learned that Jingwang needed ducks, they bought out plenty of ducks from peasants at low prices ahead of time and stored them to sell them at high prices to Wang Shi. Wang Shi was extremely angry and reported it to Jingwang. Li Yu also would have never imagined that this kind of issue would occur. After all, storing food and water was reasonable. Who would store ducks? Don't they even care what time it was? The Jing estate was using its own resources and buying ducks in order to help the civilians eliminate the locust plagues. Who would be so heartless to make this kind of dirty money? If the locusts ate all of the farm crops, what would everyone in town going to eat? Really, for 3 times the profit, they didn't even want to live anymore? Jingwang already had a stratagem ready. He gave Wang Shi a cool glance and ordered Wang Shi to record the names of all of these merchants and let them keep storing the ducks. There's no need to bother with them. This time Wang Shi didn't manage to buy a lot of ducks and was very worried that it would affect what they were doing. Jingwang, however, was very confident. Buying chickens should work too, right? Jingwang looked towards Li Yu. Chickens are fine. However, chickens don't eat as much locusts as ducks. Li Yu hastily nodded. How did His Highness knew this? As long as they ate locusts, Jingwang was fine. He ordered Wang Shi to also buy some chickens. On the other side, the duck farm that Li Yu suggested to raise ducks was built and was ready for use. Jingwang hired some daring farmer to raise the ducks. Using locusts themselves as feed, the ducklings grew very quickly. Just as the previous duck army was almost depleted, the ducklings grew up. Not to mention, the duck army also made plenty of duck eggs. Liu said happily, "Good thing your highness bought a lot the first time. Now we can continue with the operation." Wang Shi, who was a right and proper estate head steward and personal servant, now spent all of these last few days buying chicken and ducks and incubating eggs. With a confident smile, Jingwang took over all of the matters relating to the latter task. When it came to incubating eggs, His Highness Jingwang knew plenty already. As for those merchants who tried to sell the ducks for enormous amount, the Jing estate didn't bother with them, and soon they realized they couldn't afford to keep storing these ducks. Ducks were living creatures, not like crops which could be piled inside a warehouse. They needed to be fed and cared for. Any slight carelessness would cause them to starve or run away. Seeing that the Jing estate no longer wanted to buy their ducks, the merchants who were storing ducks all became dumbfounded. What were they supposed to do with all of these ducks then? At the west frontier, who else but the Jing estate would buy all of these ducks in one go? These people were afraid of losing more profit, so later on, they specifically came to apologize to Wang Shi with gifts. With Jingwang's hard reminder, Wang Shi held his ground and forcibly lowered the price again and again, pressuring so hard that the trash in these people's bones almost exploded outward. In the end, at a much lower bargain price, Wang Shi finally accepted these ducks. The duck army and duck farm have both started functioning properly. Liu went to visit the duck farm that Jingwang built, touring around all over. Using the perspective of the modern man, he offered plenty of suggestions. Liu felt like the little ducklings inside the duck farm were also somewhat cute. In a moment of interest, he asked for 2 of the yellow ducklings to be raised in his own yard. The fish babies had never seen ducks before and were extremely excited, just like their fish dad. The crystal bottles almost couldn't hold them in. Not only De Bao, even the muddled-headed Si Bao was very eager. Liu was afraid that the ducklings would eat the little fishes and firmly refused to allow the fish babies to get close, only letting them look at the ducklings from far. Si Bao really liked the pretty little ducklings. Once while Liu was taking a noon nap, he secretly jumped out of the crystal bottle, wanting to go play with the little ducklings. Speaking of noon naps, this was actually a habit that Liu developed after giving birth to the little fish babies. People say that those who slept a lot when they were younger would develop better in the future. Liu believed that the fish babies could also use some more sleep. Every day on schedule, he would accompany the little fish babies to take a noon nap. The fish babies all had active and energetic personalities. While Liu was awake, they all obediently laid under the grass blanket with Liu. Once Liu fell asleep, the fish babies would sneak out of the blanket and play on their own. Therefore, Si Bao, this naughty fish, jumped out of the crystal bottle just like this. Fortunately, Jingwang had the foresight to cover the floor with a thick heavy rug just in case. When Si Bao landed on the ground, he didn't actually get injured. However, Si Bao was still only a palm-sized little fish. Completely forgetting that he couldn't leave the crystal bottle and fish tank, he found himself in a difficult situation, unable to move at all. Not long after landing, he started feeling uncomfortable. De Bao, Air Bao, and San Bao all swam to the edge of the crystal bottle and anxiously watched as Si Bao flailed. Younger brother was in danger. Not caring about anything else, De Bao also jumped out, followed closely by Air Bao and San Bao. They all wanted to help Si Bao. Originally, there was only Si Bao, this one fish baby, who were flailing on the floor. Now, all 4 of the fish babies were smacking the floor with their tails. Liu only took a brief nap. Occasionally, he'd wake up to check up on the little fish babies. He discovered that in such a brief moment, the fish babies actually jumped out of the crystal bottle one by one. Liu almost died of shock and hastily snatched the fish babies back in. Si Bao got quite a scare and stuck to Liu closely. Liu was both angry and distressed. He fed Si Bao some fish food, wanting to distract him. Unexpectedly, Sibao ended up eating the fish food while still plastered closely to Liu. Liu wanted to know what happened with Sibao and coaxed Sibao to speak. Sibao said inarticulately, "Daddy, want duck it." Liu guessed that Sibao originally wanted to see the ducks. That's why he ended up falling to the floor. Why would Sibao like ducks this much? Liu thought for a moment. With a devious smile, he brought Sibao to see a grown-up duck. Sibao saw that the duck's mouth would become much bigger than when it was just a duckling, its neck also became all long and twisted. It would become a very tall and very fat, adult duck. Thinking about the furry cute little duckling again, with a wah, Sibao started crying. Liu finished bullying Sibao and went to bully Dabao. Dabao didn't manage to save his younger brother and even caused himself and his other two brothers to fall to the ground as well. Dabao realized that what he did wasn't correct. When Liu came to find him, he immediately said to Liu, "Dad, I was wrong." Liu, who actually really liked to wander around himself, "Oh, what did Dabao do wrong? Let Dad hear it." I was too weak and didn't manage to bring little brother back." Dabao felt a bit sad but also a bit embarrassed. "Liu. Son, please wake up quickly. This mistake has nothing to do with your strength, okay?" Dabao didn't know anything about Liu's internal cursing and said extremely serious, "I will become the strongest fish to protect my younger brothers and to protect Dad." Liu could practically see a glow behind Dabao representing his lofty ambitions. Really? Of the batch of fish eggs that he incubated, Sibao couldn't even speak properly, yet Dabao was already able to articulate clearly a long list of aspirations. Dabao is a good kid. Liu patted him with his fish fins as if comforting him and continued to say, "But you must remember to act accordingly to your own abilities." Dabao. Act accordingly to your own abilities. What did this mean? Liu taught him, "It means you have to wait until you grow bigger, to be able to protect Dad and your younger brothers." Dabao nodded his head, only understanding half of the lesson. "Then I want to grow up quickly." Liu. What the heck? Although it was somewhat exaggerated, why did he suddenly felt comforted by Dabao instead? What's going on? Under the great efforts of the Duck Army, the momentum of the locust plague in the West Frontier had been put under control. Although other regions were still unstable, according to the strength of the current Duck Army, it wouldn't be much longer until the locust swarms were completely eradicated. Despite eliminating the locusts this year, one can't slack in vigilance for the future. Locust plagues were hard to manage and most importantly, they can reoccur. However, now that they have methods to deal with the locusts, it wouldn't be as serious even if they start up in the future again. Those who could in the West Frontier all started to raise a few more ducks. Ducks were apparently a very good commodity. Not only could they be sold for money, they can be eaten and used to kill locusts. In the end, what to do with the Duck Army that had gotten fattened by eating locusts, was a rather headache-inducing problem. Looking at all of these ducks, Liu's eyes practically lit up. Thinking of something, he sucked back his drool and said to Jingwang, "Your Highness, how about we eat some roasted ducks?" Jingwang. Jingwang was a man who had already eaten the cucumber salad that Liu made without even changing his expression. So what if he had to eat some roasted ducks? With a nod of Jingwang's head, the prototype of Quan Jude was created in the West Frontier. End chapter. The disabled tyrant's beloved pet fish. Transmigration. Chapter 89. Jingwang had already arranged Liu's suggestions in a report and sent it to the imperial capital earlier. With the extermination of the locust plague imminent now that a few of the towns in the West Frontier had their locusts eradicated completely, Jingwang drafted another more detailed report. Last time, he already mentioned wanting to marry Liu to the emperor. The emperor didn't actually reply. Jingwang understood that the emperor must have withheld the response. Before he opened up this topic, he already revealed many of Xiao Yu's good qualities little by little. He also took advantage of the emperor's moment of complacency. Therefore, the emperor didn't actually refuse directly. This meant that the emperor had some hesitation. With this new report being sent over, the emperor's convictions would definitely waver. Xiao Yu's true identity couldn't be revealed. Jingwang hoped that he could make the emperor understand how good Xiao Yu was just like this. That even though Xiao Yu didn't have an illustrious birth background and even though he couldn't bear children, he was still worthy of the title of his princess consort and of standing by Jingwang's side. In Jingwang's life, he had never asked the emperor for anything. The position of crown prince he would obtain with his own strength, so he didn't need to ask for it. The only thing he wanted to beg for was the approval for this marriage. Perhaps it might anger the emperor, perhaps the emperor would completely take away his chance of fighting for the throne, if that were really the case. Jingwang glanced at Li Yu, who was currently teaching the fish babies how to play tug-o-war. Although the west frontier was destitute and austere, these days that he spent together with his family of 6 were actually the happiest days of his life. If the emperor really gave up on him, then he would request to remain in the west frontier forever. Like this, he and Xiao Yu could still be together. However, this was the worst case scenario. It shouldn't reach this point. Jingwang still had other plans that he hadn't bring out yet. At last, Jingwang sent his and Li Yu's wedding certificate along with the newest report to the emperor. Imperial City, Ganking Palace. When the emperor received Jingwang's report once again, he discovered the wedding certificate that came together with the report. The emperor was very dissatisfied with the way that Jingwang had taken matters into his own hands. However, at the same time, the emperor also understood that Jingwang specifically attached the wedding certificate to express his staunch decision to the emperor. It also served as a wordless request. To the best of the emperor's recollections, Jingwang had never begged anything from him. Even during his birthday celebration when he had just received Jingwang's gift and ended up sending Jingwang off to the west frontier, Jingwang didn't ask him for leniency. Instead, he quietly accepted it, indifferently kowtowed and said his farewells, then promptly left the imperial city. Jingwang's personality was cold. The emperor had thought that this was how it should be. However, now he unexpectedly discovered that Jingwang actually also had an obstinate and passionate side to him. As a leader, this kind of stubbornness wasn't actually a good thing. However, who didn't have something they were strongly attached to? The emperor himself was no saint either. The emperor could recognize that the marriage vow written on the marriage certificate was in Jingwang's own handwriting. This was the marriage certificate that Jingwang wrote himself. It was enough to show how important this marriage was to him. Jingwang had most likely really fell in love. The emperor recalled when the former Duke of Cheng'an jokingly mentioned that it might be genuine. The emperor had been on the throne for many years. He could have very well just smiled and brushed this matter off. However, he inevitably started considering it seriously. He placed the wedding certificate heavily inside his box of files and then started flipping through Jingwang's report. Jingwang was probably going to praise Li Yu again. He remembered that the last time, this youth had put forward some unique ideas on how to control the locust plague. The emperor had sent for the officials from the Ministry of Works to take a look at it. The officials all said that these methods were all very feasible and that they must try it if they had the chance. The emperor didn't say anything then, but in his heart, he admired this young masterly. To be able to earn the approval of several officials from the Ministry of Works, this Li Yu must really have the ability. He wondered what would the memorial contain this time. It wasn't until after the emperor finished reading the report that he learned that Jingwang had already gone ahead and implemented Li Yu's suggestion on the handling the locust plague in the west frontier. If this matter was given to anyone inside the Ministry of Works to deal with, they would need to draft a detailed plan of action to be examined by the high official of the Ministry of Works. After discussing it in court with other government officials, the Ministry of Revenue would allocate the funds. All this process would take about a month of planning before the Ministry of Works could finally send people to the places suffering from the plague. However, Jingwang didn't mention any of this in his report but just plainly stated that he used his own money and did it. And he ended up doing it pretty well. The locust plague at the west frontier had been put under control. Stinking brat. So audacious. The emperor couldn't really describe how he felt. However, was this because he had withheld the report from before, so now Jingwang was purposely throwing a beautiful-looking accomplishment in his face. The emperor was a bit angry but he still had the conscience to say well done. Of his many sons, the most decisive and most agreeable was, as expected, still Jingwang. The locust plague in the west frontier had already reached a point where the emperor had a hard time resting peacefully. If they had to follow the proper procedure, who knows how it would have been by this time. While the government officials firmly abided by established rules, the ones who would end up suffering were the civilians below them. In comparison, although what Jingwang did was rather reckless and impulsive, it did effectively control the locust plague. The emperor put down the report, looking pensive. Raising his head, he discovered there were some reports from the provinces near the west frontier, which were also delivered at this time. The emperor read through them at a fast pace. So, apparently while Jingwang was dealing with the locusts, he needed to buy plenty of ducks. The nearby provinces were pestered quite a bit by him. Nevertheless, all of these reports were filled with heartfelt gratitude towards Jingwang. If the locust plague at the west frontier couldn't be controlled, they would probably also be affected by the plague in the future. Some of the reports narrated what happened rather humorously. The emperor could practically see the uproarious scene and felt the corner of his mouth twitching. The trip to the west frontier allowed Jingwang to gain inadvertent support. This was something that the emperor had not foreseen. Based on Jingwang's accomplishment, he could allow Jingwang to continue to grow. Or he can decide to suppress Jingwang because the son of his had also schemed against him. By stubbornly attempting to marry someone who absolutely couldn't be the princess consort, Jingwang had made the emperor extremely displeased. The emperor recalled something and flipped Jingwang's report until the very end. As expected, Jingwang placed all of the credit on Li Yu again. All of this was still to pave the way for Li Yu. If it wasn't something that could be easily tested, the emperor really would like to know, if Jingwang could only pick one, either the position of crown prince or his princess consort, which one would he choose? The emperor sighed and continued to withhold his response. Everything that Jingwang did in the west frontier was no secret. It's already been spreading around the court. Back then, when the court learned that Jingwang was sent to the west frontier by the emperor, plenty of government officials felt like Jingwang had offended the emperor. Yet the sixth prince started to worry faintly. Jingwang clearly won over him during the birthday celebration with his gifts. If the emperor was really angry at Jingwang, why didn't he reprimand him on the spot in front of everyone? There's also the Chang'an Palace. The Duke of Chang'an and Ye Qinghuan were firmly on Jingwang's side. They were Jingwang's biggest supporter. Yet even when Jingwang was about to leave the imperial city, they didn't beg for leniency for him in front of the emperor. Most likely, Jingwang had notified them of something else beforehand. Why did the emperor send Jingwang to the west frontier? Mu Tianxiao still couldn't figure it out. But the unease in his heart was very quickly erased by the emperor's next move. Because of the folk song and fake monks, the emperor had punished the third prince and the sixth prince with corporal punishment and sent them to confinement. The emperor's punishment to the third prince was really harsh, yet he only treated the sixth prince as an accomplice. In a fit of anger, he removed the sixth prince's official post in that moment. In order to regain the emperor's trust, Mu Tianxiao did plenty of maneuvering privately. His hard work paid off. After Jingwang left, the emperor gave him the task that Jingwang was working on. Jingwang had pretty much finished this assignment. Mu Tianxiao only needed to close it up. The emperor also ordered the assistant minister of the Ministry of Works to aid him. Making a mistake was pretty much impossible. This accomplishment was basically freely given to him. Although the Ministry of Works was the last of the ministries, and renovating Zhongkui Palace wasn't anything impressive, but at least it could be said that inside the emperor's heart, he still thought of the sixth prince, showing clearly that he was more important than Jingwang, who was 1,000 miles away. Mu Tianxiao felt more at ease. Jingwang was ultimately a mute. Moreover, the west frontier was a place of dispute and chaos. If he aptly did something, perhaps he can completely get rid of Jingwang there. However, since he just gained the emperor's trust, he definitely couldn't act recklessly. It's better to just first watch Jingwang's good show unfold. Perhaps he didn't even need to do anything and Jingwang would end himself first. But what arrived wasn't Jingwang's humiliation. Instead, Jingwang first won against the bandits and gained praise from several of the high ministers. The emperor's mood greatly increased as well. In comparison, his little accomplishment in renovating the Zhongkui Palace was basically nothing to look at. There were actually officials who secretly supported the sixth prince who casually criticized Jingwang slightly in court, but they were very quickly drowned under Jingwang's praises. Finally, Mu Tianxiao understood that even if Jingwang was far away at the west frontier, he was still a formidable enemy. In the last few days, he heard that Jingwang had eradicated the locust plagues at the west frontier as well. Logically, the emperor should be even happier and reward Jingwang heavily. However, when the government officials praised Jingwang once again, the emperor didn't seem particularly interested in hearing it. Mu Tianxiao keenly noticed this point and sent people to Ganqing Palace and the Jing estate to make some inquiries. Finally, he discovered the secret within. Apparently, Jingwang was completely audacious. He took an interest in a youth at the west frontier and requested the emperor to make him his main wife. Jingwang was already a mute. His illness was very likely to pass on to his children. If he then married a male princess consort who couldn't even bear children, as his main wife, this was extremely beneficial to the sixth prince. Mu Tianxiao was practically laughing with glee even in his sleep. After learning that the emperor was still suffering a headache over this matter, Mu Tianxiao decided that no matter what, he had to make this into reality. He knew that the emperor still held feelings towards Empress Xiaohui. Therefore, he urged his birth mother, concubine Zhang, to step forth. Not long ago, the emperor had arranged for the sixth prince's own marriage and engaged him to the main daughter of a marquis. Concubine Zhang used to be Empress Xiaohui's maid. To be able to reach where she was today, it was very much due to Empress Xiaohui's grace. Because of this, when concubine Zhang went to thank the emperor, she began to reminisce about the past in front of him. As concubine Zhang recounted many things about Empress Xiaohui while she was alive, concubine Zhang unintentionally mentioned that the empress once spoke often about hoping Jingwang would be able to live a peaceful life in accordance to his wishes. The speaker said this with intent. The emperor also had considered this somewhat. With concubine Zhang's status and sincere affections, it's rare that she would say such things to him, therefore, it seemed rather credible. Furthermore, the paving that Jingwang had done for Liu previously was actually fairly effective. After the emperor returned to Ganqing Palace, he sat there alone for 2 hours. After pondering deeply, he finally wrote a reply to Jingwang's request. Liu has the qualities of a main wife, but because he was a man and was unable to bear children, he will be uniquely given the position of side wife. After Liu learned of this news, he ran over to console Jingwang. At least the emperor agreed to allow the two of them to be together. The days were long and they had time. Perhaps if he gave some more contributions, the emperor might become really happy and change his position to that of the main wife. When Jingwang received the reply, however, he laughed. After all of his scheming, what he was waiting for was exactly these words from the emperor. As long as the emperor stated that the only reason Xiao Yu couldn't become his main wife was because he couldn't bear children, then it really wasn't a problem here. Xiao Yu had already given him 4 fish sons. According to the time frame, the fish babies should be transforming soon. Now was just the time to announce a pregnancy. Jingwang originally planned to fabricate a non-existent concubine and temporarily attach the fish babies under her name. He was confident that the emperor would be easier to convince now that he had children. However, he was worried that Xiaoyu might have new fish babies in the future which couldn't be covered up again. In addition, he was afraid that the emperor might still refuse because of the reason that Xiaoyu couldn't bear children himself. Actually, there was no need to fabricate some random person. Jingwang can just say that Xiaoyu was a man with special physical attributes and that he could give birth. Even if no one has ever seen such a person, it didn't mean that this was completely impossible. Although it sounded rather incredulous, after the fish babies transformed, they would become the best evidence. Since the emperor already clearly stated that Xiaoyu couldn't become the main wife only because he was unable to bear children, then the emperor won't be able to oppose any more like this. The west frontier had all sorts of inconvenience, but the location was also an advantage for him. If Jingwang said that young Master Li was pregnant, no one would dare to doubt him. If the emperor wanted to send a physician that specializes in childbirth over to confirm it, the journey was far. By the time they arrived, the fish babies should all have transformed and been born by then. The reason why Jingwang didn't play this card at the beginning was only because he was afraid the emperor would find some other excuse to refuse. Jingwang had advanced gradually, step by deliberate step, to dispel all other excuses that the emperor could have towards Xiaoyu, leaving only this one left. Although it was somewhat troublesome, he could also resolve things this way. Jingwang supported Li Yu by the waist and touched his stomach, thinking that it was about time to stuff some small pillows inside. Li Yu. End chapter. The disabled tyrant's beloved pet fish. Transmigration. Chapter 90. Li Yu couldn't believe it. When Jingwang mentioned that he needed Li Yu's cooperation before, he didn't think it was for him to pretend to be pregnant. Isn't this very inappropriate? Li Yu felt a bit distressed. Wasn't this lying to the emperor? Not at all. Jingwang found him a pile of pillows of various sizes and then handed him a piece of paper. Did you not give birth to Da Bao, Air Bao, San Bao, and Si Bao? We're only making everyone believe that you gave birth to them in human form. What's so inappropriate about it? Li Yu felt like he was shot in the knee. Jingwang's thought process seemed reasonable. More or less, he was the one who gave birth to the children. He also wished that the babies could properly and legitimately call Jingwang father in the future. AI. Wasn't this just pretending for a bit? As soon as he agreed, a slightly flat, little pillow was immediately stuffed into his clothes. There was a cloth bandage around the pillow which was wrapped around him and tied behind his back. Jingwang specifically tested how tight it was, looking towards Li Yu continuously, as if asking, "Is it heavy?" Li Yu. All right. He was probably the most pampered, fake pregnant person ever. Li Yu happily shook his stomach and said softly, "No, it feels fine." Although he said this, Jingwang was still somewhat worried because he knew this batch had 4 babies. In the later part of the pregnancy, the stomach must be very big, which was a type of burden. Originally, Jingwang wanted to hide Xiaoyu away, only allowing himself to look at him. Currently, he was even more resolute in this notion. If not necessary, it's better to not allow Xiaoyu to appear in front of others casually. As before, Jingwang sent a report to the emperor. Wang Shi was Jingwang's personal servant and head steward. Naturally they couldn't hide this from him. After being told that young Master Li was pregnant, Wang Gonggong dazed off for quite a while. Li Yu was terrified that Wang Shi might inquire about the strangeness of it. Unexpectedly, after Wang Shi blanked for a while, he actually started crying right on the spot. His Highness is going to have a child. This old servant is so incredibly happy. Wang Shi rubbed his eyes and said in a trembling voice, "This old servant was thinking that if I were able to see His Highness's child with my own eyes, I would have lived a life without regrets." Although Wang Shi doubted at first about the truthfulness of the situation, a man becoming pregnant was something never heard of after all. However, His Highness was personally holding and supporting young Master Li. Young Master Li's stomach was faintly bulging, looking very much like he was pregnant. How could this be fake? So what if a man got pregnant? It was still His Highness's bloodline. After Wang Shi was done crying, he wanted to tilt his head back and laugh heartily. He just knew that young Master Li was very lucky. Master Xiao Yu having fish babies was an extremely auspicious sign. Just look now, His Highness was about to have a baby as well. Jingwang waited until Wang Shi calmed down a bit, then informed Wang Shi that he had high hopes for young Master Li's pregnancy and everything related to this would be attended by himself personally. Wang Shi nodded, expressing his understanding. His Highness had already treated young Master Li with extreme importance. Now that young Master Li was pregnant, it's understandable that His Highness wanted to do everything himself. Since the pregnancy was all left for His Highness to deal with, then what should he do? Wang Shi smacked himself on the forehead. How could he have forgotten? His Highness wanted him to get the wedding ready. He needed to be even more meticulous and careful now to ensure that His Highness and young Master Li would be satisfied. After informing Wang Shi, Jingwang also summoned the physicians that came with him on the journey to the west frontier to assess Li Yu's pulse. However, now that young Master Li has clearly become a member of Jingwang's household, and will definitely have a title in the future, the physicians naturally couldn't directly see Li Yu. Instead, the physicians were separated by several layers of curtains with young Master Li sitting behind them. All of the physicians diagnosed that young Master Li was already 2 months pregnant. After a moment of surprised astonishment, they congratulated Jingwang. Meanwhile, Jingwang faintly nodded. All of this was proceeding as planned. He was only using the physicians' assessments to let the distant imperial capital know this. The imperial physician that the emperor trusted won't be able to arrive in the west frontier for quite a while. Therefore, the emperor would definitely first ask these physicians that came with Jingwang. At that time, the physician's medical record would come in handy. Before this event of checking pulse through the curtains, Jingwang had first secretly found a woman who had been pregnant for 2 months to sit behind the curtain for Li Yu. The physicians originally didn't really even know how the pulse of a pregnant man should feel like. To be able to make a pregnancy diagnosis was already impressive enough. All of the assessments that followed were done just like this. As for the time of labor, Jingwang was well aware of the situation and had gotten prepared ahead of time. The news traveled back to the imperial capital. The emperor didn't expect that his response to make Li Yu the side wife would cause Jingwang to say Li Yu is pregnant, requesting sincerely for him to receive the main wife's position. The emperor was so shocked his jaw dropped, he repeatedly read Jingwang's letter again and again. The imperial guards that the emperor had sent to the west frontier also sent back a report, telling the emperor the same thing. They also attached the result of the physician's diagnosis. The emperor looked at the medical record repeatedly again, almost afraid to have missed something. Can men really become pregnant? If it were before, the emperor would definitely have thought, how could this be? But now that he saw the medical record, the emperor himself was not very certain either. After all, special body constitution was the justification. Overnight, the emperor summoned all of the imperial physicians and ordered them to analyze the medical record. The physicians discussed for an entire night without results. None of them knew Li Yu's actual circumstances, so naturally, no one could pat themselves on the chest and guarantee that men absolutely couldn't become pregnant. The emperor sent a specialist in childbirth to the west frontier to assess Li Yu. Thinking for a moment, he also picked up his brush and wrote a letter to Liao Kong. Liao Kong was full of experience and knowledge about the world and should be able to give him an accurate answer. For Li Yu to be pregnant, there were only 2 possibilities. It's either true or Jingwang was fabricating things. Although Jingwang was continuously paving the way for Li Yu, the emperor still didn't believe that Jingwang would do such a stupid thing. Faking royal blood was something that could be very easily exposed. But, what if it's real? Li Yu himself was of humble origins. He really wasn't the optimal choice for a princess consort. However, at the same time, this person had repeatedly shown unique talents and the person that Jingwang had fallen in love with. The emperor had already granted him the title of side wife, which meant that Jingwang was already somewhat successful in his endeavor. But for the sake of Jingwang's future children, the emperor didn't actually agree completely. If Li Yu could really become pregnant, then even the last excuse was no longer appropriate. How could the emperor be so stingy to withhold a mere princess consort position from him? Looking at the pile of reports that Jingwang sent, the emperor suddenly realized. Jingwang waited until now to reveal this, probably because he already made the emperor unable to refuse using any other justifications. The emperor smiled in exasperation. Stinking brat. Such a completely impossible task, yet he actually managed it? Liao Kong's reply arrived very quickly. The high monk was, as expectedly, a high monk. He didn't actually answer directly. Instead, he only said, "The world is vast. Nothing is impossible." The emperor understood. According to Liao Kong's wisdom, he believed that it was possible that men could become pregnant. This settled the emperor's heart. Now, he only needed to wait for the imperial physician's diagnosis. The emperor first pacified Jingwang by saying that if the physician was able to confirm it, then he would change Li Yu's title into the princess consort. Jingwang saw the dawn of victory and occasionally helped Li Yu outside to walk around in front of the people inside the estate. Right now, the entire West Frontier treated Jingwang as their absolute leader. When they heard that someone in Jingwang's household was pregnant, the civilians were all very happy for them. For safety reasons, Jingwang didn't announce publicly that the pregnant person was a man. Also, despite all the discussion, the people who knew the situation weren't actually many. The peasants were just giving him blessings out of kindness. At the same time, the bandits wanted to use this opportunity to get revenge, but they were discovered by the patrolling guards. Ever since they've discovered that the bandits were not invincible and could be easy to fight against, plenty of the young and strong youths of the West Frontier volunteered to join the guards. The people under Jingwang's wing grew more and more. Thanks to the day-in and day-out practice drills from the Imperial Guards, their fighting strength also grew stronger constantly. Meanwhile, Jingwang had also expected that the bandits would attempt a sneak attack and got prepared ahead of time. In the end, the bandits came aggressively and were once again defeated utterly by tunnel warfare and traps. Externally, Lufeng town was like an iron fortress that was guarded securely by Jingwang. Internally, taking care of the pregnant Li Yu was Jingwang's top priority. Jingwang remained guarding by Li Yu's side every day without leaving a single step. Although it was a fake pregnancy, he was always making Li Yu rest and often took over all the tasks himself, which consisted of a lot of trifles that occurred during pregnancy. Jingwang was almost morbidly obsessed with it. However, his mood was extremely good. Li Yu felt like Jingwang was using this opportunity to make up for all of the care that he wasn't able to give to Li Yu before. Meanwhile, for Li Yu, other than accepting the others' care and concern, what else could he do? In the end, Jingwang was even too reluctant to let Li Yu hold the crystal bottle. The task of taking care of the fish babies was completely handed over to Wang Shi. Wang Shi looked at the lively and vigorous fish babies and couldn't help but exclaimed, "If young Master Li can also give birth to 4 babies, how good would that be?" Li Yu, who noticed that Wang Gonggong unintentionally hit the truth of the matter. The fish babies also became aware of the changes with the 2 daddies. The first to notice was De Bao. Later on, even the slower Si Bao felt the difference. Father Jingwang always supported Fish Dad while walking. They knew that Fish Dad can change into a person just like Father Jingwang. However, Fish Dad's stomach, it was even rounder than Air Bao. From the daddy's words, De Bao already guessed something and was waiting in anticipation. The innocent and cute Air Bao and San Bao, Was Daddy going to give birth to another younger brother? The simple Sibao, sob, sob, sob. Daddy definitely ate lots and lots of peach blossom cookies. He didn't even give any to me. I also want to eat. The physician that the emperor sent was still rushing along on the way. The grow big and become human task was getting closer and closer to the last of its days. On this day, Liu had just taken out the pillows in his stomach and secretly fed fish food to the fish babies. The usually well-behaved Dabao suddenly froze blankly for the first time ever. Liu didn't really think too much about it. But as he turned around, he saw Dabao disappeared in thin air. Then, on the bed, there appeared a fair and chubby little infant waving and kicking. Liu realized that Dabao must have been the first to finish the system's task. As expected of the smartest Dabao. No, wait. Dabao must be very scared. Liu hastily picked Dabao up and wiped the water off his body. Fortunately, the system didn't make Dabao change directly in the water, else that would have been tragic. In the last few days, Jingwang had already prepared little swaddling clothes ahead of time. Liu randomly wrapped Dabao up and held him in his arms. At first, Dabao was very brave and also very curious about the novelty of being human. With a pair of large, grape-like eyes, he did his best to look all over the place. Was this the feeling of growing big and becoming human? Dabao reflexively moved his legs, wanting to swim around. However, his arms and legs didn't want to listen to him. He wanted to call his fish dad, but when he opened his mouth, he actually started to wail. The brave Dabao finally started getting a bit scared. After changing into a human, he couldn't speak or swim around. Dabao wailed even louder. Outside, Jingwang heard the sound of a baby crying and rushed in. What greeted him was the view of Liu holding an infant in his arms while coaxing the child in a flustered manner. Before, Jingwang had often seen Liu and the fish babies biting onto each other's tails and forming a chain. Also, he already recognized the fish babies as his children. But they were all still in fish form after all. The impact wasn't as forceful as seeing the current scene of Xiaoyu coddling an infant with his own eyes. Jingwang's vision gradually became somewhat blurry. He walked over extremely carefully, terrified of disturbing Xiaoyu. "Your Highness, come take a look at Dabao." Liu handed over the child in his arms. It was hard to tell the appearance in fish form, but now that Dabao changed into a human, it was possible to see. He looked exactly the same as when Jingwang was a baby. He was also a little fatty. Liu finally saw the little fatty that he hadn't seen for a long time. With a smile, he felt his eyes turning slightly red. How strange. He seemed even more emotional now than when the fish babies hatched out of their eggs. Jingwang accepted the child from his hands and looked at Dabao over and over, as if he couldn't get enough. "Don't cry." He gently helped Liu wipe his eyes. His own eyes, however, were completely drenched as well. Currently, Air Bao, San Bao and Si Bao, who have discovered that Dabao suddenly changed into an infant. The fish babies were so scared that they didn't even dare to breathe loudly. In unison, they all sank to the bottom of the tank. End chapter.